Welcome to the Entrepreneur Podcast, where we take a look inside the lives of the accomplished and successful businessmen and women. We'll get up close and personal with the founders of booming startups. So lean in and prepare to carry away something to skyrocket your own business. Please subscribe to our show and do leave us a review. It means a lot to us. Now, here's your host, Rajiv.
Hey listeners, welcome to the Entrepreneur Talk Show. I am your host Rajiv Unikrishnan, and this is the show where we talk about entrepreneurship and speak to great founders, entrepreneurs, and investors. Today we have with us Devendra Agarwal, co-founder at InstaOffice and Dexter Capital. Welcome, Dev.
Thanks,
Dev.
Rajiv. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah. So, just a brief. Devendra is the founder and CEO of Dexter Capital Advisors, a Delhi-based boutique investment bank which is committed to assisting entrepreneurs in Tier 2 and 3 cities of India to raise capital for their ventures. Before this, Devendra worked as a CFO for Resonance Edu Ventures in Rajasthan, and before that at Olympus Capital, Care Capital, and Texas Instruments. Again, welcome, Dave. Welcome to the show. Do let me know the intro was okay, and do let us know what's going on in your world today.
Rajiv, just one correction. That's our mistake. So when we started building Dexter,
Yes.
at that time our focus was to help entrepreneurs in Tier 2, Tier 3 city, as well as early stage entrepreneurs.
Okay.
Now that focus has shifted. So now at that time we were only like in Jaipur. Now we are like 4 offices: Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore, Jaipur.
Oh, excellent.
So we still help entrepreneurs in Tier 2, Tier city, but focus-wise now we are completely pan-India.
On Taiwan.
We're stage agnostic, as well as sector agnostic, also region agnostic.
So stage agnostic also. Okay.
Stage agnostic.
Great.
So in all three now we are like a almost full service investment bank.
Okay, great. So before we get into business, first I want to know is any passions outside of work? Do you get time to pursue anything?
Pursue anything in the sense outside the
Outside
two
of
venture I run?
work. Outside of business.
So actually you asked a very relevant question, and I do struggle to do outside anything of the work.
Uh-huh.
There are like 2-3 passions I have. One is like sort of mentor or help people,
Okay.
which I anyway do, and it's not you can consider it's partly part of work, because in banking,
Correct.
while you make fee after when you advise your clients based on this thing, but if you let's say even help people, it allows to maintain the relationship, it allows to build that positive word of mouth, which ultimately helps us.
Correct.
So that's something I'm able to do still. The only sort of thing which is the work-life balance. I'm like strong proponent of having work-life balance.
Okay, great.
And even like one time I written that people say like when people become entrepreneur, they should forget, like their family should forget about them, their friends should forget about them. I like totally don't. I'm not follower of that. So
Okay.
I believe you need to have a balance while you become an entrepreneur. Whatever you do, you need to be always around your family. So whatever you do, family is always first, and then you should be available for family, friends, etc.
Great.
So I try to do that, but yes, the various commitments you have with the various people, right? Your people, your employee, your client. So it does affect that, and that's the you can say only small regret of having that. Sometimes I'm not able to spend time with my kids, because in entrepreneurship is almost 7 days working. There's like no holiday.
Absolutely, yes.
So that becomes a challenge. So those are the things which you have. Otherwise,
Okay. So Dexter started first, then InstaOffice, correct?
yes. So Dexter started 3 years back.
Okay.
In 2000, like early 2013, when I started Dexter Capital, and it's pretty interesting how I started Dexter. So I was working in Resonance,
Uh-huh.
and my daughter Aditi was born on 2nd December 2012.
Okay.
And I wanted to become an entrepreneur, you can say, from 2006.
Okay.
Even in 2008, I tried my hand on entrepreneurship. I started a small food venture then. So when I came to Jaipur from Kota, I saw my daughter, and that time I decided now it's time to start. And that's where like, you can start at Dexter. My official company incorporation date is 6 March 2030.
Okay.
But I started working from, you can say, January itself. And my ex-boss or founder of Resonance, Mr. R.K. Verma, was kind enough to allow me to shift to Jaipur and start working on that.
Mhm.
So I did that, and from there, you can say the journey of the Dexter started. So typically, it's not that I formed the team. It's just like I always felt to become an entrepreneur. And after I saw her face, I thought, okay, now I can't spend time away with her. Best time to spend time with her is I do something on my own where I can choose my location. That was Jaipur,
Yeah.
and I do that and also build the venture.
Excellent. And so what would the vision be for Dexter Capital today?
So if I talk about today, our vision in the beginning and vision today remains same.
Okay.
And it's slightly tough to even say that. To help entrepreneur, especially the entrepreneur who are taking advice first time, and help to the, you can say, fullest extent, and always give right advice. So honestly, when if I talk about let's say 5 year back, or if I talk about 6 year back, I actually used to hate this term instant banking.
Okay.
And I used to find that typical, and I'm probably still aligned with that term, with that definition. The reason I used to do that, because typically people I saw around me, they would very focused on getting closure done, and they would go, like, say, tell things which are not right, etc. And that's something I never liked. Then I went back to when I was working in Resonance. We were actually using Instant Bank, and I found the advice given by typical Instant Bank is quite poor.
Yep.
Poor in the sense an Instant Bank typically would know, let's say 20 things. And if he has to do his job, he probably needs to guide the entrepreneur. Okay, ABC. These are things you should know. These are things you should choose, and then decision should rest with the entrepreneur.
Yes, correct.
So the advice has to be complete. Even the practical commercial aspect of advice should be built in. Then even the practical sort of aspect of advice, in the sense that if we do this, deal may close or may not close. Deal may close, but then you run this risk of having this investor on board, which you may not be comfortable working with. Even that element has to be built in. Decision should rest with the entrepreneur. Typically, I saw that doesn't happen. People typically do, you can say, only 20% of the work, and their focus is deal closure. Their focus is like, even if you get, let's say, one term sheet, then immediately, let's say, go after that, push the entrepreneur, close it, don't even guide him the terms.
Correct.
Which is something I literally hated. And that time I decided, okay, I always thought I should find a problem which I should solve. Now this is a problem, and I already noticed this stuff.
Yeah.
So I should solve this.
Okay. So a typical entrepreneur solving a problem, but as a investor.
As an instant banker, or so that's where we even call ourselves advisor than instant banker typically in our discussion with our clients.
Okay.
And with that spirit we work, and all the clients we work with, like, anybody can check. Anybody, not like I don't even, let's say, name 3 references. Anybody can check with any client we work with whether the transaction got closed or not. One thing anybody would find consistent is that whatever happens, we will always provide right. Whether deal closed, not doesn't close, it doesn't matter we make revenue or not. We'll always try to ensure that we provide absolutely best advice for them.
Okay, great. So you're a member of TIE Charter and also angel investor, I think companies like Rubik and Lifecare.in. Are these personal investments or through Dexter itself?
Yeah, so one more thing. Anything I'm doing after 6 March 2013, even if from personal, will always be considered part of Dexter.
Okay.
The reason for that is when you're building an organization, right? You are giving commitment to your people who have joined us, right? They're putting your career, they're putting their career online because they have faith in you. So whatever I do is you can spot Dexter. So out of the 3 companies we invested, or 3 or 4 companies we hold stake, 3 of them are from Dexter. In one of them it's personal. But it's personal because entrepreneur wanted it to be personal rather than Dexter. I always wanted it.
Okay. Got it. So moving to, does Dexter typically do, you all started as early stage, so now you all are going into bigger rounds or still sticking to smaller ticket sizes?
As I said, we are stage agnostic. So we have done deals in past. We have done around 15 transactions.
Okay.
So these transactions are in the range of 2 CR to, you can say, 120 CR.
Oh, okay.
But majority of them as like are in smaller sizes.
Okay.
As we speak, we are doing a transaction which is around 15 mil, which is a Series B transaction.
Okay.
And there is a transaction which is a buyout transaction, which is like size of the transaction is around 800 to 1000 crore.
Okay.
We may or may not do that. We already got the, let's say, promoter, the term sheet, etc. But all these transactions, the bigger the transaction is, despite you have everything, uncertainty of the closure is always higher because promoter is trying to take money, right?
Correct.
He is a self-sufficient company generating cash, so he would always choose the best option. And with our kind of model where we try to lay out things very transparently, it becomes even more difficult.
Correct. So when you do these really big ticket sizes, do you all just lead or do you all do the or do you participate with others?
Oh, sorry. One thing I want to clarify, Rajiv. So we are an investment banker first, an investor later. So when we invest,
Okay.
that is. I'll give you the background.
Sure.
So Dexter Capital Investment Bank, where our primary job is to help companies raise capital from venture capital in case of early stage entrepreneurs, from equity funds in case of growth stage entrepreneurs, and we also do M&A.
Okay. Okay.
So that's a primary job, and that basically essentially allows us to earn our bread and butter.
Okay.
The investment that we do are much smaller compared to what we do work as investment banker. The investment we do is part of Dexter Angel Circle.
Okay, got it.
Dexter Angel Circle is built around me. So whenever I think, okay, I should make an investment, we also do that through Dexter Angel Circle as well.
Okay. And your typical, have you seen like any the more investment or more advice going into any certain vertical, or it's now across everything?
So it's not across any vertical. We are again now sees around 200 entrepreneur requests every month, which I believe is now even larger than some of the VC funds that they get the request.
Correct.
And that becomes a challenge. Like my personal bandwidth remains really tight, and I have to put my hands together and apologize to multiple friends. You have to give me time, allow me time, come back to you people. But again, that doesn't mean as a Dexter we don't provide the advice. The Dexter as a company, we have a team and we are fairly responsive. So that we do. So in terms of you can say there are like pretty sort of large size of people who approach us, and based on that, we try to bucket the opportunity internally, like that we never sort of tell the entrepreneur, like, is the opportunity fall in top 5%? Would the opportunity fall in like 80% to 95%? Would the opportunity fall in bottom 80%?
Okay.
If the opportunity falls in bottom 80%, we very humbly advise the entrepreneur what are the right steps to be done so that the company becomes fundable. When opportunity falls in 80 to 90%, again we try to advise maybe ABC needs to be done. We are probably okay to take the mandate to the fundraise, but these things to be done when company becomes let's say more fundable. And in top 5%, we aggressively sort of go and pitch and take this. In terms of sector, we are not focused on any sector, but we have very good understanding, very deep understanding of sectors. And the understanding is built because our team today interacts with, I would say, 5 to 7 VC investors almost weekly basis.
Okay. So let's say you select 100 companies, to help them in fundraising through other VCs. So how many would you say you have been able to close? I mean, has it been like 100% success rate?
No. Okay. When we speak to 100, we typically only take, so on a monthly basis, we only take, you can say 1 to 3 clients.
Okay.
Overall, we not more than 10 to 15 clients at a time.
Okay.
Because more than that, you cannot work as a investment banking firm.
Okay.
So if you ask our success rate, the success rate in, I would say, last 6 months has increased tremendously.
Okay.
So if you ask last 6 months or last 9 months, the success rate is now nearly around 40%.
Okay.
Which I consider is a fantastic, like out of every 5 companies, 2 are able to raise funds.
Okay. Oh, that's really good.
When that's actually quite good, we consider. And our target is that we will never be able to 100% because there are multiple times when even an entrepreneur, while having a certain offer on the table, he may not want to take that because he may feel that valuation may be lower, or the amount of fundraise he's doing may be lesser, or the investor pedigree may not be right. We will tell everything pretty transparently.
Okay.
It's up to the entrepreneur to choose what he wants to do.
Okay.
So we want to take the target to 60%, but currently there's a target. Overall, if you ask a broader question among the 100, as I said, among the 100, 80 to 85 company would not be company which are immediately fundable.
Okay, got it.
They would take some time to build whatever weakness they have in their profile. Remaining 15 would be fundable, but again, you would not be able to take them. So, and out of them, I would say, let's say 2 to 5 would be company which are fantastic.
Okay.
We should take that. Out of them, whatever we like and as long as entrepreneur is okay to work with us, we'll take that. And rest of them, we sort of either try to advise or we connect with the investor.
Okay. So you would normally take a fee if the fund is closed successfully, correct?
Yes. So
Okay.
that the fee model is threefold.
Okay.
So there are three elements of the commercial. One is the success fee, which is our largest fee.
Okay.
There's a one small, you can say, fixed fee.
Okay.
The fixed fee, it varies. There's a commitment fee we take. The reason we take commitment fee is if we don't take commitment from the entrepreneur, sometimes we find the entrepreneur is not serious. And-
Got it.
And so what happens, when you take a mandate, you put your heart into it, right?
Yes,
If
of
your
course.
entrepreneur is not serious, he would suddenly change his strategy. He'll say, okay, I'm not ready to raise capital. And he would suddenly stop the providing data. He would not come on the calls, etc., which affects our credibility in the investor community.
Market, yes.
So we want the entrepreneur also serious. And if he's not serious, he may think it through. We are happy to wait. We never sort of hurry the entrepreneur in terms of the fundraise.
Correct.
Never hurry the entrepreneur even to sign the mandates, right? Like a lot of time, investor put the term sheet out. They say, guys, you need to sign in 2 days. Again, I never understand that philosophy. I understand like they do that because on the term sheet should not be stopped. But again, you should never hurry anybody into, let's say, putting a pressure into decision making.
Yeah.
Because that relationship never works. So that's how I would say typically things happen whenever we interact with entrepreneurs.
Okay. And any VCs or angel investors who y'all kind of work more often with? I mean, you all have your preference towards or who you all work with really closely?
So actually, we have pretty good relationship with all the VCs.
Okay.
And I can say you can define in three or four buckets. So there are angel investors who are professional angel investors, which are like Flipkart founders, Snapdeal founders,
Correct.
Rajul Garg, Alok, etc. So that's one set which will typically come in the angel investing. Then there is a seed investors. Seed investors are investors who are typically investing anywhere between, let's say, 200K to mil. These are the funds like Parampara Capital, Kai Capital,
Correct.
Sixth Sense Venture. There are Your Nest Venture. There are, I would say, around 15 to 20 funds who do that. Some of them are more specific to sector. For example, Hive Data would only do data analytics. There are funds like who would only consider AI sort of ventures. So we have that fair bit of understanding who looks at what. So we sort of have that understanding. And second is standard VCs, which will do anywhere you can say between, let's say, typically 1 mil to 5 mil. These are again the standard VCs, IDG, Kalari, SAP, Sequoia, Matrix, all that. And post that, you have people who are doing, let's say, larger size. So, for example, a fund like NEA would never do a deal which is typically 1 mil or 2 mil, right? So, if an entrepreneur stays in a stage where he's only ready to take that size, while it could be fantastic opportunity for a fund like NEA, it may not happen because the guy doesn't want to invest.
Correct.
Because of size constraint. So we have a fairly, I would say, deep understanding, and that understanding is not just limited to me. Even the team has that deep understanding, the Dexter team. We ensure that whatever the opportunity that comes, we try to ensure that opportunity can be matched to the relevant funds based on the criteria. And the fund typically would have criteria in terms of fund size, like the deal size, what is the deal they want.
Yeah, correct.
Second is the sector preference, B2C versus B2B. In B2B, it becomes India versus US. So those are the preferences that typical funds have. We try to ensure that we match that.
Okay. So, I mean, if someone were to come to you and, not for a fundraise, but rather say, like, find me, if I'm doing well, find me someone who can acquire me kind of thing. Will you help in such a situation?
Of course, we do help.
Okay.
Whenever we come to that situation, we need to assess very carefully why that is happening.
Okay.
So, and there are 2-3 ways it will happen. A company could be completely distressed. In a distressed situation, we need to ensure that promoter expectation is pretty clear. And if company is not small, company not big, it has not raised large capital, we'll tell him that only possibility here is equity hire, which means that your team would get acquired. You may get some equity for the company you build, but there's very less possibility for getting any cash for you and your founders, for your team. Investors are unlikely to take money, so you need to have consent from your investor that they're okay with doing that. So that's this thing. Second opportunity could be where it's not distressed, But again, making a decent money would be hard.
Okay,
For example, company may have raised money, let's say 10 mil valuation, but when you go on the market and do the transaction may not have 10 mil. Transaction may happen, let's say 3 mil. So that kind of understanding we want to sort of give to entrepreneur. The third would be sweetest opportunity, where a company is valuable, is exiting because the entrepreneur feel the market is saturating, growth's not there,
got it.
there's something, right? So those are the standard M&A projects which we will be more kicked about, more excited about. And there we try to ensure the entrepreneur gets best value for the company, the investor gets best value, etc. Everything happens.
Got it. Okay. So moving to InstaOffice, I guess it would be logical for you as Dexter to help entrepreneurs also set up. So was that the idea? How it came up?
Yes. So idea was that, but I'll tell you why we set it up is Dexter was a small venture. It's still a small venture.
Correct.
So whenever I tried to take office space, I myself struggled a lot. And I would not name my competitors. When I took the offices, one of the challenges, like, well, they tell, okay, in X price, let's say 13,000 rupees, you'll get one seat. But when I read the contract, there's installation fee, there's a business continuity fee. Now, these are things you don't like, right? Because we are small time entrepreneur. Every 10% increase in the budget affects us. So I saw the challenge that there are tons of people who are out there. But if I talk about business center, there is certain issue that needs to be solved. If I talk about co-working spaces, there's certain issue that needs to be solved. So that's where I was always willing to sort of dive into this, and especially with the help of Dexter, with our network with investors, etc. I was pretty sure that we will be able to add tons of value whenever we do that. Thankfully, I found Vikas. Vikas, an old friend. We both come from Jaipur.
Okay.
And fantastic individual, very, very high integrity person. So I had sort of no doubts that this situation will work. But how it will start is, like, Vikas was also running a business center earlier. In Sector 16A, and he was another venture in travel space. He came to me as a friend. You come to your friends, right?
Correct.
And there we don't charge any fee. Boss, these two things I'm doing. What should I do? I analyzed both of them. I said, the travel one has more potential. Maybe you should raise fund for that. And we actually got him the term sheet from pretty reputed investors, close to Mill. Unfortunately, what happened is that the founder was not willing to dilute stake. And at that time, as a philosophy is that we would be pretty transparent to the people. I told Vikas that maybe you should think about it, be more open about it, and that's how you should decide. And he also thought about it. If the relationship today there is a challenge in the dilution, probably it will not work. That's where he decided. He sold his stake to his co-founder. He restarted again in July last year, and that time we were anyway doing a lot of brainstorming.
Correct.
So that's where he sort of pitched to me in October that, can you come on board? Because there are a lot of ideas that you have. I've seen how you are trying to build it. So that's why I said, fantastic. So I'm on board as well, and that's where we started.
Okay. So where did you start your first InstaOffice setup?
So in fact, our first, so we started in Gurgaon.
Okay.
So we started October. October is where we brainstormed, and first 2 months were gone into finding the property at our unique model. So we designed a very unique sort of model to partnership with landlord.
Okay.
So we found the property. The property was in Sonaro, which is in Gurgaon. So we found the property, and then for next 2 months we sort of built that, and in February second week we started that property. So first property was started in Gurgaon, and in fact we now have 5 landlords on board, and all of that is in Gurgaon only. But we so this is like only 4-month-old journey. We started
correct
like Feb. So sorry, not 4 months, like 6 months. We started in February. Now it's like August. 6 months we now have 5 properties at 4 locations, but we hope that we would be having around 10 to 12 properties by March end, and we would be one of the leaders in Delhi NCR.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, that's damn good. So, I mean, typically, how is this different from, let's say, a co-working space? I mean, it'll be similar, right?
Actually, we do both. So
Okay.
we do. So for us, both are separate products. So we do business centers. So business center
Okay.
would be more like a Regus or more like Vatica
Okay.
Business
Got it.
Center
Yeah,
into
yeah.
Bridge of Quest. And we also do co-working. So we do both. Among the 5 property we have, 3 are business centers, 2 are co-working offices. So Golf Coast Road property we have where Ixigo Alok Vajpayee is our landlord.
Okay.
That one is a co-working space. The Sector 32 where Trisara Group is our landlord partner. That one is also a co-working space. The Sona Road we have 2 property, both are business center. Nirvana Courtyard, the property we have, that's also business center.
Oh, damn, excellent. Yeah. So, moving to just a standard general questions on the startup scenario, the tech scene. So, you have been doing this for many years now, I would say almost from 2000. So, I mean, in your view, could you briefly describe the scene in, like, let's say 2000 and fast forwarding to today? What would you say is the biggest change that has happened?
Yeah, I would correct you. So I was actually a student in 2000.
Okay.
I was giving the exam, 12th, and I got into IIT in 2001.
Okay.
So while I'm aware of the scenario starting from 2000, so I should be able to comment on that.
Yes.
If you're asking how the ecosystem has changed, if you ask about 2000, so you can, let's say, take buckets.
Correct.
2000, 2007, 7 to sort of, let's say, 2011,
Yep.
and 2011 to time till today.
Correct.
So from 2000, you can say our economy was just liberalized. We had like just 9 years of that leeway.
Correct.
And startup as a word probably was not known. Entrepreneurship was as a word was probably not in fashion.
Correct.
People used to be entrepreneur in India always, right? Like my father runs a small shop. But it's not a standard definition of entrepreneur or standard definition of startup, right? Because you are not trying to achieve scale, you don't have large vision, you're not trying to disrupt something. So that way it existed, but we do not have that sense of entrepreneur. And the entrepreneur we had were people like Sanjeev Hikchandani of Naukri,
Correct.
or Alok Mittal of JobsAhead.com. So these are the people we had, and these are the people who, because of their own passion and probably the pedigree they had from, let's say, IIT, IIM, or the problem they wanted to solve. For example, VS Money from Just Dial. He did not have, let's say, IITM background, but still wanted to solve a problem. These are the people who are trying to build venture. At that time, building a venture was hard. Capital was not easily available. Even the support system was not there.
Absolutely.
From the you can say mentorship system.
Yep.
Or you can say even the family support was not there. So as Alok Kejriwal sort of has written, right? He went to ask advice from multiple people, and then he sort of sought the advice. So that time, I would say there were very few funds like Erasmic Venture by partner Subrito. So these were the ventures who were there. Very limited set of capital available, overall sense. Very limited set of decision makers that were there.
Correct.
So the scene was, I would say, there were to do it, but it was not a very vibrant scene, even from Indian perspective or even like a global perspective.
Okay.
Over the time, what happened as from 2003, as market picked up and people were more become aware of, you can say, India's story. That's like 2005 onwards, I would say. So there are a lot more funds in India which entered into India. And these were the funds like Canon Partners, Sequoia, SAF, Matrix, all those entered. Some of them actually got an exit. So Baji.com founder, right? Avnish and Suvir, both of them got exit. Both of them started a fund, right? Avnish started Matrix while Suvir started Nexus.
Correct.
So that started. So there were, I would say, a plethora of funds. Hillian started because Ashish Gupta, ex-Jangli, Sanjeev, who is ex-Daksh entrepreneur, they started Hillian. So 05 onwards, we saw multiple VCs sort of came up, and they started, you can say, number of VC funds. So now for any, you can say, any recent entrepreneur, capital was available. Even the number of decision maker was there, but it was a traditional VC scenario where raising the capital is not hard. You would go through multiple set of meetings. Your business plan has to be proven. People are sort of doing a lot of pre-diligence before even
Yeah,
giving
yeah.
terms, diligence, all that. That used to happen. So it was, you can say, people who were doing quite well raise money, and these people also made, I would say, a good set of investments. So, for example, Make My Trip got funded. They have invested in that.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
Dial got funded. So excellent set of investment happened. Also, these people also sort of made good investment. After that, so that's a scenario. I would say 05 to 07 when it got built up, these funds came. 07 to 011 is the money went into the
Correct,
ventures,
correct.
and these ventures scaled up. And only two of them provided exits. For example, Make My Trip when listed on the Nest
Correct.
US, it provided exit to its investors. When Just Dial got listed in India, it got provided an exit. But again, a number of them could not provide an exit to investors, but funds still did quite well from
Yeah,
themselves.
yeah.
And after that, 11 onwards, so while Flipkart started like 08, but 11 onwards, when some of these global funds who were even present before, so Tiger was present a lot earlier,
Yeah, correct.
these global funds became much more aggressive as India point of view, because now they knew that, and the reason it happened is that suddenly the bandwidth, the smartphone penetration increased, so everybody in
Yeah,
India
that's
has a
true.
cell phone, the bandwidth sort of increased, number of phones in India increased. So factors on technology wise which allowed these ventures to, you can say, demonstrate scales, because technology penetration was much more sort of easy. So these global funds suddenly came to India and became quite aggressive. So 11 onwards, you can say there's a lot of capital which came to India, and which you can say really fueled the boom of this startup or entrepreneur. So we saw Tiger like investing close to, it's more than $1 billion capital in India.
Yeah, it was really big.
So SoftBank investing tons of capital. For DST, TradView Capital, even bigger funds like Temasek, etc.
Yeah.
So that basically, you can say, fuel the ecosystem. What also happened, the people who got benefited from this, they wanted to give back. So that built an angel network of fantastic people. So you can say these scaled up ventures founder, which is, I will, let's say, Snapdeal, Flipkart, InMobi, all these started sort of contributing back
Correct.
by, you can say, supporting in terms of angel investment.
Yeah.
And that allowed to build it. For example, Ola Cab, Kunal Bahal invested in Angel. Again, let's say the company which ultimately Snapdeal acquired, Unicommerce, there
Yeah.
he was like, that allowed the benefit to be passed along, which sort of built, which sort of, you can say, made it easy. And I very can closely relate to it, because in 2005 when I passed out from IIT Bombay,
Yeah.
so we also have fantastic batch, but 05 till 08 hardly, I would say, three people become an entrepreneur.
Correct.
People who become entrepreneur, very hard for them to sort of even survive or build it on.
Correct.
There's no capital available. After that, 11 onwards, because of this ease of capital available, so for people to take risk become easier, and that's where you can say people for take risk become easier, and the establishment of success also become much more easier. Once you become an entrepreneur, probably you can achieve quick success. That's where sort of you can say suddenly the boom in entrepreneurship came. Government also become more supportive. Organization like NASCOM, TIE also provided fantastic support.
Correct.
So that we had multiple startup incubators, co-working spaces that came across. So that basically built a fantastic ecosystem which allowed entrepreneurship to blossom in the country.
Great. So, I mean, in terms of you as an angel investor, or also as a, say, let's Dexter as a banker, what would be the typical criteria you're looking for in a startup or in a company?
So as an angel investor, so we look at multiple criteria, like any standard, which is one of the foremost of the team.
Correct.
Then second is how good is the team, what is the frequency between founders. Second, we look at like what is the pain point or problem that entrepreneur is trying to solve, and what is the need of the solution. Third is how scalable the solution could be. That's, you can say, third element. Fourth would be in terms of disruption or the technology, how how that can happen. So there are multiple things when whenever we look at any sort of idea. But one thing when I personally look at a venture when I invest is, uh, uh, for example, would this venture survive? In the sense, like, what is the probability that this venture may die if this venture does not get sufficient capital?
Okay, okay.
I have strong preference. So I know a lot of my angel friends have strong preference to put capital early at a low valuation.
Yes.
I have a you can say slightly reverse philosophy. I would typically want to participate when entrepreneur has sufficient capital available on the table, which would allow him, you can say, see a runway of 15
Correct,
years.
correct. Yeah, got it,
But
got it.
even fantastic entrepreneurs, we don't have sufficient capital, and by because of any reason, if they can't get the capital, it becomes very very difficult for them to see their venture seeing the light of the day. And as an angel investor, so the people who are investing, they are not the professional investors. These are, you can say, family and friends who are investing along with me.
Correct.
And yeah, when you are working, doing anything with the family, friends, relatives, if you do well, it's fantastic. If you don't do well, things come back to you, right? So I have a high responsibility that I don't lose money for them. So I try to ensure that the venture I'm investing, they should sort of survive, and that's where investment that we have done from Dexter Angel Circle is only say, three, not more than that.
Okay, okay.
Because we wanted to very very focus that we don't want. So, for example, I'll give you an example. Uh, a very fantastic venture, which is, let's say, more of app based, but monetization may not be clear for, let's say, next
Yeah.
year. While I would be very personally excited about it, and I may want to sort of even put the capital, but I would not do that because if the venture does not do capital at the right time, it may die.
Correct, correct.
The philosophy we have from the Dexter Angel Circle perspective. Second thing is we want a mix of, you can say, domain experience, either domain experience or passion.
Okay.
One of them should be there at least with one of the founding members.
Okay.
So while I see a lot of young founders have been funded, but we want to see that at least somebody have either strong domain experience or passion, because one of these two things needs to be there. Ensure that venture does not try too many things. Venture is actually able to, you can say, once money invested, capital going in right action,
Yeah.
rather than figuring out things.
Correct, got it. Great. So, I mean, there's so much money going towards, I mean, it was at least last year and also beginning of this year, money and investments going in India into tried and tested models. There was no like real innovation happening. I mean, what do you feel? Is that changing or will it take time to change?
Yeah, so actually, what happens, we need to understand, like, while I have seen this story being given out,
Uh-huh.
and even a lot of people putting fingers at the VC that you are not doing that, we need to understand it two or threefold. Any sort of support ecosystem builds over time. So if you look at China, right?
Yeah.
In China, the amount of domestic capital available to investment is pretty huge. We see Chinese investors chasing Indian startup. Have we seen any Indian sort of startup or VC sort of chasing any pushing outside? Because the domestic capital is not available. If you not even available for equity,
Yeah.
we're talking venture capital or equity, right? So it's a domestic capital is not available. That's where the ability to take risk for people who are running venture capital, etc., becomes lesser. Second is when these people get fantastic exit, right? Either as an angel or you can say as a VC fund, the ability to take a risk becomes much more larger.
Correct.
India, this VC product is a 7 to 10 year product. When you investment is easy, but getting exit is difficult. So it will take 7 to 10 years to get an exit, and we have to still see the cycle where multiple exit happens, right? I was seeing an article and that mentioned that Israeli startup gave, let's say, more than $1 billion exit to the investor. In India, we are seeing like you can literally count those exits on your fingers.
Correct.
Right? So that needs to happen for investors' ability to invest. Because first time, whenever anybody is venturing, right, he's very cautious. Boss, I'm investing. It should not happen that ultimately I don't make money. But
Yeah.
once a venture has done that, their ability to take risk is much higher, and that's where you see more established fund like SAF, Sequoia, etc. They may be willing to bet much more capital and much more aggressively on the ventures which they feel sort of could change, and they did that. It's like they may have gone wrong, or some of their bets may not have succeeded.
Correct.
But actually, they try to take that. The one more thing that needs to happen is a lot of ventures which are built out. They become copy of what we are doing in the not happen. Our entrepreneurs should be able to think that okay, this opportunity is an Indian opportunity. We should try to solve it Indian way, and that I would say is the maturity of the system.
Yeah.
Over the time, it will develop. Over the time, entrepreneur would build solutions which are completely Indian. And fantastic example is Just Dial, right?
Yeah.
Just Dial is completely Indian solution. The guy built a solution based on his lot of experience, which is completely Indian, right?
Correct.
Just is a listed company, profitable company. So that's a very Indianized solution. But when you try to copy things completely from there, it doesn't work because the cost of acquisition of customer is very high.
Yeah.
Their customer profile is very different. Their propensity to pay is very different. That doesn't work. So I think that ecosystem also needs to change, and even investors chasing opportunity which are more successful in the US, and they feel that they can become successful in India, that mentally also need to change.
Correct.
So over the time, I would say course correction would happen, and multiple things come together would allow that a lot of fantastic product would come from.
Great. So, and your take on single founder versus a team?
Always go with team.
Okay.
Single founder, if you are going, then the person literally needs to have profile like K. Ganesh or Kashyap Devda or somebody like that.
Okay.
Who, while he would be single founder, but he would be able to build a very strong team around him.
Got it.
And be mature enough to dilute equity to build that team. So otherwise, always go with the team rather than single founder.
Okay.
Because the amount of risk with the single founder. So I am single founder at Dexter.
Okay. So moving out, just the last few questions. Who influenced you most in life?
It's a very interesting question. So actually, I don't have single influencer all time.
Correct.
If you say the stages of life where I got influenced, if you see my childhood, it was you can say my mother in terms of hard work or being very very integral or being very honest or very candid, like she got it. You can say business sense. It was my father who sort of got it, because before going to IIT JEE, I worked with my father for 7 years.
Okay.
And there he literally first 2 years he asked me, "Beta, ये customer है, आप उनके लिए चाय ले आइए." So my job was to bring the tea, serve it in the customer, collect their cups, and clean them. Then it's like my father was running a cloth shop, so
correct.
This is how you should show cloth or kapda to the customer, how you should ensure कि ये चीज लानी है. He trained me very specifically, and he was very disciplined in terms of finances. So every day when I used to go out to Kotputli to study, every day I used to take fix some of money. Before going home, I need to put it back and I need to write the hisab for that.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So that's the like sort of discipline he if I talk about my education, so till 10th I was never serious about my education.
Okay.
If I got third rank or fifth rank in MT without any coaching. So he became an inspiration for me and allowed me to, you can say, go to IIT. So I would say from 12 till I cleared IIT, it was my brother, Dr. Manoj, who was my inspiration. After that, you can say when I reached to my college.
I think a networks off. Networks going.
It was mentor Sora Mukherjee and like who are sort of inspiration for me, like they were built. Over the time, the inspiration. Hello.
Yeah, I think your network's dropping. Hello.
I can hear you clearly.
Okay, now it's better. I think your network had dropped. Hello. Hello.
I can hear you.
No, I think
I can hear you clearly.
No, from your end, I think your network is failing. I think now it's become better. Hello?
Okay.
Yes, now it's better. Yes, okay. Okay, great. So, and what would be the best advice that you have been given?
Best advice I've been given is two things. Always pretty strong. Always has super duper execution is 95%. It has only.
Hello, again you broke.
Hello.
You again broke.
I saw that build a team
Okay.
have a super focus on execution
Okay.
and have a razor sharp focus when you try to execute.
Great. And finally, Devendra, any last piece of advice that you may have missed that you want to give our aspiring founders?
I think my only piece of advice to aspiring founder is be very, very candid to yourself and everybody around you. That's one. And be extremely fair to people who are around you.
Okay.
So being candid allows you to identify multiple mistakes which you may be doing.
Yep.
Which you can identify, and there's nobody who you don't need to go anywhere. If you think calmly, you can identify a lot of mistakes themselves. So, but it's a very hard thing to be quite candid. So that's my only advice I have.
Great. And please let our listeners know how they can reach you and also Dexter Capital.
They can reach me, my mobile, my email ID are
Okay.
on LinkedIn as well as on Dexter Capital website.
All right.
So I'm always reachable. Insta, if they do Google, again they will find my mobile.
Okay.
So I'm fairly reachable, and I get a lot of calls. My request to my people who want to reach: don't use calls. Please use WhatsApp. I will always respond back. I rarely that I don't respond back, but please use WhatsApp rather than.
Okay, got it. Again, Devendra, thanks for taking the time to talk to us and inspiring our listeners to start their own ventures. And all the very best with Dexter Capital.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Radha. It was a pleasure to speak.
Again, do visit dextercapital.in and do visit us at theasianentrepreneur.com to get the show notes. And please subscribe to our show on all the platforms and leave a review on your thoughts about the show. Thank you.
Thank you for listening, and please subscribe to the show so you don't miss an episode. In the meantime, head over to theasianentrepreneur.com and check out show notes and other information to motivate you in your entrepreneurial endeavors.